For my special topic presentation, I will be exploring the idea of poverty and education attainment. Does Poverty Affect Education Attainment? By Courtney Konwinski in our Sociology course 354. Why is this important to study? As we know, poverty affects people all over the United States, and it is an important topic to consider. Limitations in high poverty places lessen the opportunities available. There are obvious limitations in higher poverty areas, such as less jobs or fewer paying jobs, which then cause issues for the opportunities one has to get out of poverty or even maintain a good education. Low-income school districts affect overall achievement in education of the student or child. According to Owens, 2017, her research on income segregation between school districts, it was known that this plays a significant role in the overall achievement a child attains in education, because also the fewer opportunities and resources the schools are given are limited due to the district's segregation. People tend to think that poverty only affects inner-city children when it comes to education and living in general, but according to Bunn, Farmer, Hutchins, Urban, and Macy's 2011 research on rural youth, poverty increases the chances for educational problems. People may think the answer is yes, obviously poverty affects education attainment, but there is not enough attention on this topic, therefore solutions have been limited. I argue that poverty limits the chances for low-income children to attain higher education in the following ways. 1. Youth from advantaged backgrounds have more social relationships that provide access to resources to help their educational success. Social capital relates to low-income youth's post-secondary education attainment. This is according to Shantini and Feliciano's research in 2015. Social capital has significant impacts on low-income youth success within the educational system. With that being said, with no social capital or little access to it, it will be hard for low-income children to have the resources and relationships required to gain knowledge about college requirements and about college information in general. Low-income families tend to live in areas where their neighbors are in the same situations they are. Therefore, not having a neighbor who, for example, has a college degree, this will deter you from obtaining information about college within the community. So now, not only are they receiving information within the school system or through social capital within the school system, limited access to community social capital is also playing a role in this. This research by Ashanti and Feliciano was done within 80 communities of 134 middle and high schools, focusing on the 2,819 low-income respondents over the course of 10 to 15 years. Low-income families are considered low income if their family income and household size was below 185% of the federal poverty line. At this level, you qualify for benefits like food stamps and reduced school price lunches. Thinking of educated parents and non-educated parents, I should say, when low-income parents have children who they themselves are not educated, it's likely they did not have the social capital to help obtain a college degree. So, it will be harder for their child to get this information through them if they themselves do not have a degree or have that social capital. It was found, though, during this research that 54% of low-income youth attend college, but those who enroll, only 28% receive bachelor degrees. If low-income youth live in neighborhoods where college graduates are, and if they are maintaining a job through high school in extracurricular activities, it is more than likely they will enroll in college because of the opportunities available to them. But in low-income youth neighborhoods where these opportunities are not available and they are not maintaining a job or surrounded by community social capital, this will affect their attainment in education and knowledge. 2. Income segregation between school districts. According to Owen's research on income segregation, there are large achievement gaps between high and low income students. Income segregation between school districts creates inequality in the economic and social resources available to disadvantaged and advantaged students. High-income Black families are living in districts similar to where the low-income white families live. Touching briefly on race, in this study, Owen talks about how the income segregation creates the difference in achievement for the students, leading to low-income youth having education attainment gaps. And this is based on the districts that they are living in. This research on income segregation, Owens said that she and a team used a test from the Child Development Supplement to test school-aged children in basic skills like math and reading. And it is known that the metropolitan area have the most segregation between school districts. This test used for the school-age children, they offer a follow-up over the course of a couple years, and they found that as a family's income increases over time, if it does increase, the test scores of the child would often go up 0.2 points. When income segregation occurs, a child's achievement goal decreases because there are fewer opportunities in low-income areas for children to have similar opportunities to the advantaged children with higher income parents. And 3. The relationship of school influences to rural youth's academic achievement. Inner city children are not the only ones to suffer from poverty and education attainment. Poverty encountered by rural youth increases their chance for educational problems, and this is according to Bunn, Farmer, Hutchins, Urban, and Nisi's 2011 research on rural youth poverty. This also includes underachievement within the student, and school dropout rates will increase. It was also known during their study that poverty is more prevalent in rural areas and is longer lasting than in city areas. 2.6 million children in rural communities are poor in the United States. This study was done to examine students' post-secondary aspirations in rural high schools across the U.S. Grades 9 through 12 in 73 schools were included in this. Parent consent forms were required for this study. 6,247 students from 43 low-income poverty and 21 high-poverty rural communities were involved in this. This lasted for a year. High-poverty rural area youth have little aspirations to go to post-secondary schooling. Although in the study it was noted that high-poverty rural youth had the opportunity to engage in post-secondary preparation activities, most opted not to, but low-poverty rural youth chose to participate. The high-poverty rural youth achievements suffer due to less opportunities. Most then have no desire to go on to post-secondary education because even with some preparation courses offered, they know that they can't afford school in the long run. How is poverty's effect on education attainment viewed in the media? Well, from the New York Times, Tiffany Jones discussed the cruel irony of free college promises. And she states, I quote, "For lower and middle income students, free public college isn't truly free if only tuition is taken care of." She also says that, quote, "Numbers of the wealthy and famous used fraud to get special treatment for their children," unquote. In the Washington Post, we have Valerie Strauss, who explains a project that Bill and Melinda Gates have started. She states, and I quote, "The initiative will concentrate on global health and development, education specifically, improving educational achievement of Black, Latino, and rural students, and lifting people out of poverty into jobs," end quote. And now for my analysis. What is being discussed in the media about poverty and education attainment mostly aligns with what the academic research says. There are several advantages for attaining higher education when you are within the upper class of living. The better social capital you have, the more resources are provided to you. In the New York Times article and in the journal article about youth from advantaged backgrounds, both agree that when children are in a wealthy family, the opportunities for higher education are endless. Rural youth in low and high poverty often experience the least amount of resources and aspirations to go to post-secondary schooling. The Washington Post article and the journal article about rural youth and poverty agree that rural, along with some racial groups, experience the biggest setbacks. The media explains that there are plans being put in place to ensure rural youth get out of poverty and focus higher on education achievement. As discussed in the journal article, the high-poverty rural youth were given opportunities to participate in higher educational learning activities, but opted not to due to knowing that the cost of college would not be something they could do in the long haul. With the media giving a glimpse of what resources could start to become available for these high-poverty rural youth communities, it could change their minds and give rural youth hope for their futures.